Welcome back. We're on episode 85, or no, we're not actually. We're on episode 82, part two. No, I'm jumping ahead of time here. Oh, I couldn't even say that we're gonna have five hot tags this week. We only have three written down, so I don't know where I got 85 from. We are on episode 82, part two. We have three hot tags to talk about this week. Uh, First up, there's heat on Mark Henry for taking time off due to an injury. Uh,
Mm.
hmm, I don't know. I mean, if he's not really that injured, then I guess they have every right to be mad. But if he's injured enough that he should take time off, then what the hell? You know what I
I,
mean?
I, I think this is something being sensationalized on the internet. I mean, Mark Henry is a guy who's been around for a long time. He's getting up there in years. He
15,
needs to take
16
care of
years.
himself.
Hmm.
Especially for a guy of his size. The amount of pressure put on his joints, and especially his knees. I mean, I believe it was a shoulder that was hurting him, but that's a pivotal part too. I'm sure he doesn't want to retire and one day not be able to reach something that's on a shelf.
Right. I wonder if any of that happened from doing that truck pull.
Could
Is
be.
is it nagging from the injury that cost him basically the last 9 months before he came back? Is it the nagging shoulder injury, or is it very unclear what's bothering him at this time? I still don't know.
I
All
don't
I
think
know,
anything's been confirmed about that. Like I said, I think this is all just a lot of hearsay at the moment. All we know right now is Mark Henry is not there,
nice.
and especially it looked like he was going to be doing something big this summer. I mean, up until that match at Extreme Rules, I just saw all that there's this big, huge balloon that was going to be lifting Mark Henry up, and all of a sudden, pop.
It'd have to be a big
Well,
dude.
He might not be gone for that long, though. I mean, if it's being publicized huge by the internet and they say, oh, he's going to be missing all this time, then he comes back 2 months from now.
One thing I'm curious about is if the whole story is that if this all is legitimate to begin with, um, if they're upset about it because they had these plans for Mark Henry and they're upset that now that all goes to shit.
supposedly from like I said before, from what I've heard, the big plan was to pair Mark Henry off against Big E Langston, and now I think they were gonna use that to elevate Big E a little bit. And now that they're gone, now that that's been taken out, they're kind of having to rewrite their plans for Big E. So I think that's what's really upsetting them is they had plans to use Mark Henry to put over this new talent, and now they got to completely rewrite.
Well, what I find weird about it is like, what would Mark Henry have been doing at Payback and Money in the Bank? He wouldn't have won Money in the Bank.
Nope.
And at Payback, who would he have been wrestling? Sheamus again, and then
Or
he would have
he'd
had
been
to.
on the pre-show or something
Yeah,
like that.
so really, it might end up doing them better if he can come back for SummerSlam and just do that anyway. Maybe he comes back and starts beating the shit out of people for the whole weeks up to it, and instead of doing the normal thing where they go, this is the end of the pay per view where like the Money in the Bank ends, and the next night on Raw you have Mark Henry come out and Big E Langston calls him out, and then we go into the next 4 or 5 weeks of building up to SummerSlam. What if they did something completely different where it was just like for the 4 or 5 weeks leading up to it, Mark Henry's going through after person after person, and the week before WrestleMania, Big E Langston comes out and he's just like, enough. Fuck you, dude. I'm going to kick your ass. And then everybody's like, oh, we have no build up to this, like, between the two of them, but we've had to build up for Mark Henry. It still would sell it. So if that's their whole plan, they can still do it. If he's able to come back in time and all that. And if not, I'm sure they can figure something else out. They don't panic on other situations like the Jack Swagger arrest and all that. Then it doesn't seem like it's as big of a deal as like
It's
Peyton
being made
saying.
out to be, so
Right.
definitely. I don't see him missing a huge, substantial amount of time. I think he'll be back at least by the end of the summer.
Mm.
I see him back for SummerSlam for sure. What are the next two pay-per-views for him? Absolutely nothing. Yeah.
One person who is back and, well, not technically yet, but coming soon to the WWE roster is Husky Harris, now known as Bray Wyatt. We saw a promo on Raw for the Wyatt family, and I'm pretty surprised that they're going with this right now, especially because they're bringing along Luke Harper and who is the other guy? I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Eric Rowan or something like that.
Yep,
And
that's his name, Eric Rowan.
they obviously look like heels. And you've got
One of them
now...
looks like Bruiser Brody, and the other one looks like one of the Highlanders.
Maybe he is. That's what the Highlanders have been up to.
Mm.
But yeah, the thing I find weird about this is you have three trios in WWE now, and they're all heels. 3MB, Shield, and the Wyatt family. I'm
And with
assuming.
this, like,
Do we want to include Big E, Dolph, and AJ into that because they're technically a trio?
Nah, I wouldn't count them because
you wouldn't really
AJ.
count them as a stable because AJ's a female.
Yeah, because you're not
Uh,
going to see if you have like the mixed tag kind of a thing. It would be a different story.
But
But
even then, they got the whole trio of, even if it's just heels going on, there's like a whole bunch of them on the roster right now. But again, we were talking about Big E possibly turning anyway.
Mhm.
So that would, knock Ziggler down like his heavy, if you will. But with the Wyatt family, I think I was expecting Bray to be called up sometime after WrestleMania. I thought he was going to be definitely the first choice for a post-Mania call-up. I did not know if the rest of the family would be coming with him, though. It's really interesting because, you got the Shield, which is a huge heel faction right now. I don't think they're essentially going to cross paths. If you remember when the Nexus was at its peak, and I know it's a horrible comparison because Nexus is nothing compared to the Shield, but the Straight Edge Society was going on SmackDown almost exclusively, and they didn't really cross paths with each other minus the first Nexus attack. So if they do things right and the Wyatt family's more featured on SmackDown or whatever, and they don't really cross paths with the Shield or anything like that, I think they can make it work, and you can make a few stars out of it. I think it's a great thing, and it's a great gimmick too.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be tougher to do something like that because Raw and SmackDown really aren't exclusive anymore. Everybody works both shows now.
I'm thinking what we're going to see here: 3MB turn face.
Absolutely. And what I think they're going to do, and I was saying this on Keeping Kayfabe last night, I think they're going to pull a page out of the good old Bill Watts era and bring back the 6-man tag titles.
You think so?
No.
It's a
No.
joke. Laugh.
No, I actually could legitimately see them making a third tag team championship
Why
belt.
not just fucking defend it Freebird style?
No,
Like-
it's a completely separate belt.
Oh,
like
I
a
thought you
third
just
tag
meant that they were
it's-
going to add a third one.
No, 6-man tag division. They've had it before.
No, that would be absolutely ridiculous. I just thought you meant another belt
A lot of three-person tag teams, so.
I think from a gimmick perspective, I love it.
It's great.
It's been a long time since we've seen WWE do angry hillbillies as a gimmick because anytime they bring up some redneck tag team, it's like the country yokels. Vince has his
It's Jesse and Festus.
yeah. Vince has his hatred towards the South, but I love the fact that they're bringing up a scary Southern tag team. Like I almost feel like somebody finally gave Vince a copy of like The Hills Have Eyes or Red State and was like, "This is what modern hillbillies are, Vince. Do something with that." It's not the old school, overalls, country bumpkin kind of thing. I just hope that they don't nerf the team because this is a team that should be dark. Like you can tell from the promos, this needs to be like a dark, scary team.
Yeah, and it's not just it's not the hillbilly aspect, but it's the kind of pseudo destructive cult thing going on. Like you feel like if you turn down these guys' road, they jack you out of your car and you never be seen again. Basically,
Yeah.
That's something I was going to say too. Is I don't see this so much as a hillbilly thing. I mean, I guess there is sort of a Southern influence to them, but I definitely see this more as pulling an influence from a cult. Very, very Charles Manson-esque, especially the look with the beard, the really scraggly beard, and the way he's got followers with him in the woods. And I think that's something that could extend them being beyond just a trio. I mean, if he has a cult thing going on, he could be bringing in more people at any point.
And you know what I was thinking? It was a good. I read this on Wrestling Forum. The Lamb mask that Rowan was wearing, if they actually like piped that in the crowd and had people wear them, or just like plants wear them while they enter the arena, that could be one ominous, scary visual as they're heading to the ring. For
and you
anything.
know what? As odd as it is that we're talking about with this kind of stuff, you got to think they could sell them. There you go. There's more masks. You've got, and I don't want them to do this. I hope to God nobody fucking hears this and is on creative and does this. You could do the lamb against the goat face Daniel Bryan thing.
Oh boy.
Well, this actually, this is I doubt this has anything to do with it, but it reminds me of one of the ideas they had with Sin Cara a couple years ago, where they wanted to build up to a Rey versus Sin Cara matchup for WrestleMania because they wanted to try to break a record. I think the record was most masks worn at a live event.
Yeah, it was some like NBA game or something like that the record was broken at.
It'd be funny if they did that with this gimmick. Everybody in the crowd just wear it. First of all, that'd be terrifying. I'll be perfectly honest with you. you
Have
turn
you seen
on
a bunch
Raw
of people putting on lamb masks in the front row or all the way up to the stands? They're just staring at the ring with the lamb masks on. Yeah, it's a
just
fucking scary visual.
just
It'd
quiet.
be great though.
If you could get everybody to just stay quiet while wearing the
Oh,
mask.
A whole
it's
arena of people that aren't
it's got
cheering
a
and
whole lot of
clapping and
potential. And
stuff.
I loved Punk in the Straight Edge Society. I think that group could have gone way farther than they're given a chance to. And that had a very cult-like feel to it too. But this has just that much more cult feeling to it.
The problem I always had with the Straight Edge Society was that it just seemed like they were just throwing random people into it. Like they didn't so much have a plan as is, hey, we've got, Festus and we got Joey Matthews and Serena Deeb. We're not doing anything with them. Let's
Let's
just
throw
shave
them with
them.
Punk.
Yeah,
Shave their
let's
heads
shave
and
them
throw them with
bald.
Punk.
Yeah, with this gimmick, it seems like they've got this planned out from the beginning. Like it
And in
seems like they're
fact,
gonna know more to
yeah.
do with it.
Yeah, because people I've been hearing that officials wouldn't be calling them up if they didn't have a plan for them, and this is where I was thinking, as much as I think Team Hell No has run its course, I think due to this division kind of growing, and even if it's just in terms of stables and more heel tag teams being around, they may have to stay together to combat all these different heel groups that are around.
I don't think
Even
they
if it's
are
just-
breaking up. If you saw SmackDown tonight, I don't think they are breaking up.
You know what I
anytime
mean?
soon.
I think this is one of those situations with the Wyatt family coming out. This is a situation where Team Hell No, at least in my opinion, they kind of are the other than the Shield, I'd say they're the top heels of the division. But for me, Team Hell No are like the faces of the division. I think at this point, with this big heel group coming up, they got to keep those two together to at least even things out a little bit.
I'm
in
also-
terms of
Tonight on
roster.
SmackDown, at the end, Daniel Bryan came out and he basically became a house of fire and just tore through all three members of the Shield by himself.
Damn.
And it resulted with him, like Kane and I forget who it was, Randy Orton, I think it was, lifting up his arms, and he just kept saying, see, I'm not the weak link. I'm not the weak. So I think this is just something they're doing to showcase Daniel Bryan a little bit more, but they're not putting any tension in anymore in between Kane and Daniel Bryan. It's just like a joke now.
Well,
I
there's
don't even
two-
think. Well, I don't even think it's a situation where they want to break up Daniel Bryan and Kane. But if Daniel Bryan keeps getting as big as he is, they're gonna have no choice. There's no way you can keep Daniel Bryan doing what he's doing with the reaction he's getting. You got to capitalize on that. And on a show that really is lacking in main event star power, I
Well, at
wouldn't
least
be
for
shocked
baby
if they.
faces.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they get a little gun shy and decide to just just to try this out. Put Daniel Bryan into that main event spot, maybe against the Dolph Ziggler, which would be awesome. That would be an awesome feud.
There's two ways that they can go about this, I think. I'm worried about when it comes to the roster depth. Either they can tag more people up to counteract this. There's a lot of people that have nothing to do. I mean, you take somebody like R-Truth. He dances and everything like that and sings. You could put him as kind of a third person along with Tons of Funk. You can take the people like Justin Gabriel and Yoshitatsu and who the hell was the other one that was just in my mind that wasn't Tyson Kidd. Another it was another thing about that whole like the international group of people.
The World Elite.
No, it was another WWE roster member.
Oh.
Along with Gabriel and Yoshitatsu, because Yoshitatsu's never going to do anything unless he's in a tag team or just getting squashed in matches.
Oh, you're thinking of International Air Attack or Airstrike, I think what we were talking about?
Yeah, but not Tyson Kidd because he's out. It was somebody else. I'm looking at the roster page right now.
You're not thinking of Evan Bourne because he's still out.
William
He's
Regal,
not back yet.
No, it wasn't really Regal. It was
Wade Barrett.
Sin Cara. That's what it
Oh.
was.
Oh, really?
Sin Cara and Justin Gabriel and Yoshitatsu would just kind of do like
Is this
like
a comedy group?
but no, as like a jobber group kind of for people to have more matches with.
Oh,
So
like
it's
a
not
modern job
just
squad.
random high-flying tandems that are made at random, whether it's like
Exactly.
Primo and Epico, Sin Cara, and when he's back, Evan Bourne or whatever. Tyson Kidd can come back and tag with them when he's back.
Right, yeah. And you've got
Wait a minute, that's another good point. For all the talk people saying about making makeshift tag teams, we've got a ton of tag teams in WWE that aren't doing anything as is.
the
You got the
Usos, primetime players. They can
Mhm.
turn face.
I think
Epico
the
and
PTP should turn face at this point.
oh yeah, definitely.
They're pretty
'cause
likable
I think
individuals,
they
and with
are
them,
faces. I mean, would you see when they came out to come to John Cena right before WrestleMania, and they're like,
That's-
they don't
that's a-
want to see you, John. Everyone's
that's
like,
a-
yeah,
that's
they
a
want to
very
see
good
the
point. I think
primetime
with I was talking about keeping Team Hell No together, which I still think they should do at least for the little while longer. Yeah, turn the primetime players face and have them feud with like the Shield and
Ooh, get it.
the Wyatt family when they show up. I think that'd be a good way to, especially since they're not doing anything of note right now. Might as well turn them face.
Yeah, and like you had said before, there's tons of people like the Primo and Epico and
Usos,
the
we brought
Usos
up.
and Unico and David Otunga, like doing
Team
absolutely nothing
Cobra.
right now. Yeah, Cobra. But something's gonna happen with that. I don't know. The other hot tag for this week, WWE and Flintstones are gonna team up and do an animated film. I kind of saw this sort of thing coming a while ago when they started actually like embracing the Fruity Pebble kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
but you can't see me.
and this is something that as much as I rag on stuff that's like for the kids and all that, if I was a kid and if I was a fan of Flintstones, which I wasn't really as a kid, I'm sure I would fucking eat this up because I remember as a kid I had that Scooby-Doo Batman crossover. So as stupid as it could possibly be, it's not meant for the people that are in their 20s like us.
The new Scooby movies.
Well,
Yo,
Right.
and it's funny that you say that because there actually is a WWE Scooby-Doo crossover in the works that's due to be released around
I heard
WrestleMania
about
next
that as
year.
well.
Exactly. Apparently,
Yeah.
that's like the blueprint of why they thought that this would be a good idea. And we haven't seen that
It's
would be
really just
successful
going to be a
yet. But
cameo. I mean, they go to a wrestling show, but that's really. I mean, it might take like or is it like the entire plot taken around the
the
WWE?
Scooby-Doo one, yes. The Scooby-Doo one, yes, revolves around them solving a mystery at WrestleMania. The Flintstones one, I think, is them just going to a wrestling show.
Yeah, it's
And-
a match between Punk and Cena. I think is going to be featured in the cartoon, but other than that, they didn't really go into much detail.
Yeah,
That'd be-
I got to read you the storyline for the Scooby-Doo. This is from IMDb.com. When Shaggy and Scooby win tickets to WrestleMania, the entire gang travels in the Mystery Machine to WWE City to attend the epic event. However, when a mysterious ghostly bear appears and threatens to ruin the show, Scooby,
Yes!
Shaggy, Velma, Daphne, and Fred work with WWE superstars to solve the case.
is it Brodus Clay?
Brodus Clay is in it.
He's the dancing bear. There you go.
Yeah.
I knew Brodus Clay was up to no good. Would have
Oh
gotten
my
away with
God.
it, too. If it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
So if you guys are interested in Flintstones and WWE, of course, you can check that out and maybe see John Cena overcome the odds and fucking give an FU to the Brontosaurus or some crap.
And while you're at it, YouTube Flintstones cigarettes.
Yeah, they did
Winston.
The same company that made the chewable vitamins.
No,
To market cigarettes for kids.
No, the Winston cigarette company did a commercial with them back in the 30s or 40s, I think. This
was
was
in the
Really
60s.
old. This was old. This is like black and white commercial. It's
It was in the
Bygone
early
era.
'60s,
this was back when
right
the
before
Flintstones
color
were
was
still,
super popular.
This is back when the Flintstones was still considered an adult TV show. It wasn't specifically made for children. It was a primetime show.
A regular Simpsons of its era, I'm sure.
It was
Yeah.
back when the Flintstones was a reality show.
They've been around that long. I wouldn't be shocked.
How do you win? Do you say the most rock puns?
No, you got to be the one that survives at
It's
the
a
end, man.
living.
Survival of the fittest.
That type of show would rock.
Oh,
one up.
you.
All right, everybody.
Oh.
You know what else is gonna rock? Part 3, because we're gonna talk about something else from the past.
Hold on. Aren't we going to talk about the announcement of Punk versus Jericho? CM Punk's big return?
We're gonna do that more so when we talk about Payback, because we never know exactly what's gonna happen.
Or
I'll
what
tell
that
you.
might change.
I'll tell you what. Don't get too excited because you're
No.
not seeing CM Punk at Payback.
Spoiler alert for the June 14th edition. All right, guys, we're gonna go next part. Wrestling with the Past, WWE's version of ECW, and the One Night Stand pay-per-view.